Hey guys, let's talk market for just a quick minute. Since we started off Monday, started the week after the big downdraft on Friday, you can see right here, I'm showing the daily. Now, normally I like to show weekly charts, and by the way, I'll do this real quick, right? We're technically in a bull market. And what I mean by that is we came down to lighter volume in the SPYs. So the volume we were going up against over here was 414 million. We came down and touched it on Friday on that massive drawdown and only 412. It's less volume, so that would imply a spike or a bounce, right? We're kind of getting that a little bit today. Same thing with the QQQs when you look at it on the weekly. What we're going against was this benchmark over here of 296 million on Friday with that massive day. After a couple days of light volume, we came down here on only 292 and bounced. You would say that that's bullish. Here's the caution. The caution is we're hung up here in the middle. Let me start with the SPYs. Caution is we're hung up here in the middle on lighter volume. So there's no discipline. Now I say lighter volume. Yeah, there's more volume in terms of average, but it's less than the massive drawdown on Friday, right? So we're just hanging out in middle ground here. So there's really no way to know if this is going higher, if a bottom's put in or not. High volume highs and high volume lows like to be tested, which means that this either wants to be tested down here or this wants to be tested up here. But we have no confirmation that that's the case yet. So you see that I have this white line drawn here. A lot of times, stocks or indices will like to go up and test the breakout and roll back over. So I keep an eye on that. You look at the Qs, and we're up here very close, right? And this is after years and years of doing this. You realize this. So after this big drawdown on Friday on the Qs, not only did it come up and touch kind of where we're looking at, we want to see if it breaks into that and holds. If it breaks just above this or closes a penny above this on doesn't matter what kind of volume, it can go up and retest it. The point of all this, without getting into too much detail with a short video, is we just don't know where the market's going yet. The only stock that we knew that we actually bought on Friday and held and sold into the gap today was OKLO, if that's how you say it, OKLO. And that's because despite the red tape on Friday, it held above the breakout. So it was literally the breakout was right here, excuse me, around the 147 area. We held it. The projected price move is actually 191, but we sold into the gap today just simply because I don't trust the market here. We're incredibly bullish on the market long term. I just don't know which end of the spectrum it wants to test here before going higher. Are we done and it's heading up higher, or does it want to test one more time? And I can't rule out the second scenario in my mind first with enough confidence to hold on to that. So I held on to it today. But if you did, or I sold it today. But if you have this stock, it wants 191. With that, I'll just leave it there, other than to say all the rest of these stocks are just hanging out. They're fine. Nvidia, hanging out. MBIS is hanging out at the breakout, right? Tesla, hanging out above the breakout. Nothing wrong with any of these stocks. I just don't know if the market has put in a bottom for this time or not. Because again, high volume highs, high volume lows like to be tested. And I'll say it again really slow because it's a fact. Just even if you don't believe it, watch it. High volume highs and high volume lows like to be tested. So you don't know if that's going to happen. Case in point back here, just look at this chart real quick, and then I promise I'll be done. But you see this right here. This is a high volume high, high volume low right here. What happened? We came here. It wanted to come down and test it, right? So we came down and tested it right there, right? So look at this right here. Here's another high volume low right here, right? And we went up, and then all of a sudden we came down. Where did we want to go? We want to come back down and test it, right? So I don't know if that's going to play out or not, and that's why I'm not bullish here. I'm just sitting on my hands, and I suggest you should do the same. So hope that helps. Have a good night.